Hello, I'm Coach Natalie, and welcome to this episode of Jitsu for Dummies. Today we're going to introduce a new guest, Brock, and Brock is going to be my dummy for when we're doing stand-up. Now, as you will recognize if you followed these videos for any length of time, most of the time we've been doing submissions already starting on the ground because, let's face it, it's kind of hard to get a dummy to stand up, but I got one of these new hollow dummies that you buy empty, and then you can fill it with, your variety of fillings. In this case, he's filled with bubble wrap, so he's pretty lightweight. That being said, I've made a little ladder, and the ladder is attached to a piece of furniture with something really heavy on it, so it's pretty stable. I put a little nail on the top of the ladder, and then Brock has a little hook on the back of his gi, so I can just kind of hang him up, and that way we can start. Increasingly, we'll have a series where we'll be working on some takedowns and pummeling and that kind of things that, weren't possible until now. But today we're going to be learning about pulling guard. Now, guard pulling usually has a little bit of ridicule attached to it in the world of jiu-jitsu because a lot of people think that, if you pull guard, you're not being sufficiently aggressive. The idea is that, you're going to take them down, but there may be some reasons why you might want to pull guard. You may be going against a person who is a very good wrestler or judo player, and these people, of course, spend all their time taking people down. So obviously you can thwart their game by getting to the ground yourself. You may be against a very big person, and there's just no way you're going to take them down. So again, you might want to pull guard. You might want to pull guard because maybe you've hurt your foot and you just don't want to stand for any length of time. And finally, most importantly, there are a lot of people who have excellent guard games. In fact, their guard game is better than their top game. So when given the chance, they grab onto your clothes, they sit right down, they pull you right into their guard, and then they can immediately start sweeps and that kind of thing. So lots of reasons why you might want to learn how to pull the guard. So let's talk about guard pulling. For me to pull someone's guard into my guard, and I'm going to do a couple of things. I want to grab their lapel. I also want to grab the opposite sleeve. This is important. I then put my foot on top of their thigh or their hip, kind of depending on how tall they are, my balance, that kind of thing. Last thing, with these two points of contact, I'm going to sit down and, as much as possible, immediately close my legs. So now they are pulled into my guard, thus the name. So let's check it out. Again, I'm going to grab their lapel. I'm going to grab their opposite sleeve, and I'm going to put my foot on top of their hip and sit down and pull them into my guard. Lapel, sleeve, foot, and pull them into my guard. Now, once someone is in your closed guard, there's a couple things we can do. I can grab this arm, grab their head, break their posture, put my foot on their shoulder, underhook this arm. Now, I've cut the corner. I'm actually looking at them in a 90-degree angle. Pinching. I throw this leg over their head. Now I kick forward. Of course, I have two hands on their one hand, my bottom very close to them, and I can do the armbar. So, pulling guard's pretty easy, but there's a couple of mistakes people can make. Brock here, one mistake that I could make would be if I am grabbing onto their lapel and I'm putting my foot on the same side, on their hip. Now, if Brock's hand is free, he could easily grab my leg and, take it off of him. If I'm grabbing onto the sleeve and yet putting my leg onto his hip, I'm controlling his sleeve, and so he can't get rid of my hip, or my foot on his hip as easily. So that's a mistake, would be to grab the lapel and put your foot on the same side hip. Another mistake would be, not having at least one point of contact before sitting down. Now, the IBJJF says that, in fact, you have to have at least one point of contact. Otherwise, they're going to stand you back up, and they might even give you a warning or a penalty. Because really, think about it. You're pulling them into your guard. You can't pull them into your guard if you're not actually holding onto some piece of fabric. So you actually need to secure them in some way. Grab a collar, grab a sleeve, grab an arm. You need to grab something before you sit down. And then finally, the biggest problem, which is why I think people give guard pulling a hard time, is you have to have a plan. Now, there are a lot of really, good jiu-jitsu players out there that love to pull guard because they have an excellent guard game. As soon as they grab you, they pull you down. There's all sorts of lasso guards and De La Riva guards and sweeps and submissions and stuff that they can do once, they have you in their guard. But, don't think I'm going to be like the cool kids and just pull guard and not immediately follow it up with, a submission or something like that. So let's learn something else. We just learned the arm bar. Let's work on a triangle. So this is down. I've taken down Brock. He is now in my guard. Remember, still holding on to this arm. I'm going to be putting my leg over the shoulder. So, got my legs crossed. I'm going to shuck this hand over here, grab my ankle, continue to pull myself so I'm 90 degrees, lock down. Now, as you remember from our triangle lesson, I want to squeeze my knees together and then pull both my knees towards me. Again, Brock's in my guard. I have one arm. I need to isolate this arm. So I'm going to shuck this arm, this leg over, cross. Now I'm going to switch hands, which then frees me up to grab my ankle, lock down, knees together, pull them tight towards me. Finally, the scissor sweep. I love the scissor sweep. So, Brock is in my guard. I'm going to secure this arm, put my hand on his lapel, get to my side, pull him forward so he doesn't have any base. Now remember, it's called the scissor sweep because this leg goes in, this leg goes out. So pull towards me, and there you go, the scissor sweep. So let's do all three again. Got a little hook here. So again, Brock is able to stand up because I've made a little tripod, and you might have to experiment, but once you can get a dummy to stand up, then a whole world of possibilities opens. Again, I'm going to grab onto his lapel, his sleeve, put my foot on his leg, pull him down. Instantly, I should be closing my legs. So, to get an arm bar, grabbing onto this arm, secure the head, leg over his shoulder, underhook, because that way I can pull. And now I'm looking, 90 degrees into his ear. This leg is on top, this leg's on the bottom. It's kind of pinching. Both legs are over the head. Kick forward. Secure the arm. And got the arm bar. Or Rock and be in your guard. I got one arm here. Now, I need to get this leg over his shoulder, so I'm going to just shuck it and cross. Exchange the arms, because that frees me up to grab my ankle. Again, I'm trying to cut the corner, so I'm really trying to look into the side of his head as much as possible. Squeeze my knees together, and then pull towards me. And finally, I could just sweep, secure the arm, get to my side, pull towards me, and get the scissor sweep, which then, as you know, is very easy to get away in a self-defense situation. If this was an MMA, you know, people love the top position. A lot of people have a lot of submissions from the top, so this may be the best way to, you know, get to the top once they are, you know, in your guard. As I said, we covered the scissor sweep in the very first episode, so, you know, it's been a while since you've checked out that episode. Check it out again. So, in any case, I am glad that we are able to now, you know, be able to do some takedowns in the future. There's pummeling and all sorts of things that now, as I said, the wide world of possibilities is open. Well, thank you very much for joining me for this episode. Again, I always love to get your comments and ideas. We have a new trailer coming out, and really, if you have always thought about sharing this series with other people, especially those who, you know, live by themselves, don't have a gym nearby, health concerns, you know, just not going out to gyms at this time, invite them to subscribe to the series. It's free, and, you know, love to double the free subscribers we have by the end of the year. That'll be so great. So, thank you very much for joining me again for this episode of Jiu-Jitsu for Dummies.